I'm Chaplain John, and welcome back to Neighbors Care, Loving God and Loving Your Neighbors. Today, I just wanted to tell a story about actually how we probably began Neighbors Care in San Diego. It wasn't called that then, it was called Boulevard Ministries because we were living in a motel, the Hitching Post Motel, and on Elkhorn Boulevard. There were a lot of the old motels there, and within, like, I don't know, about a 5 mile area. Many of those hotels were run down and housed people like myself and my family who were down on their luck. Things had gone south, and we were homeless, and we were living in a motel. And the Lord put on my heart to begin to actually minister to those people, because that's what God did. He humbled himself. He said he described himself as being meek and lowly in spirit. He said it was easy to come to him, and so he invited us in, and so we wanted to do the same for the people that lived also in the motels. And so after we started that motel ministry, it grew quite a bit, and we moved into another apartment at one point. And upstairs, I noticed a group of, I don't know, 5, 6 men, Middle Eastern men, had moved in up there, and I was a little concerned where they were from and so forth, and discovered that they were actually former Iraqi soldiers from the Iraqi war with Kuwait, and that after the war they were taken prisoner. They were not allowed to return to their country in Iraq, because if they had, they would have been killed by Saddam Hussein. And so my first response was like, okay, these were former Iraqi soldiers that not too long ago were killing or trying to kill our own people, our own soldiers. And I had a problem with that. How am I going to be a good neighbor? How am I going to be a caring neighbor to them? And I prayed about it, and before long, the Lord put on my heart, he said, this apartment was like a block off Elkhorn Boulevard, and he asked me, he said, so where's your ministry? What is your ministry? And I said, to care for the people and families who live in these motels and along Elkhorn Boulevard. He said, isn't this along Elkhorn Boulevard where you're living now? And, yeah, I could begin to see where this was going. And so he convicted me of all this, and I went upstairs and introduced myself and shook their hands and began to have a relationship, develop a relationship with them. And we began to talk, and nothing serious at first. And then one day I left to go up to the store, and I was walking up the road, and one of them, Sabah, he hollered out to me, Mr. John, Mr. John. And I said, yes, Sabah, what is it? And he said, may I talk to you for a moment? I said, of course. And he said, Mr. John, you're a Christian, aren't you? I said, yes, Sabah, I am. And he said, would you teach me about Jesus? Would you teach me about Jesus? I said, I would love to. And he said, I can't have you coming to my apartment, but I can come to your apartment. And so he met at my apartment every day, and we went through the book of John together. It was wonderful. It was a great time. And we shared, he asked questions, and we studied through the entire book of John. About the same time that we'd finished, Greg Laurie was coming to San Diego to do one of his events, and evangelistic events. And so I asked Sabah if he'd like to go with me, and he said, yes, I would. And he went to that event that night and sat with me in that stadium, and he's looking around at all these Christians are singing. We're all Christian, we're singing, praising God and so forth, And at one point he said, Mr. John, he said, you know what I notice is that when I was in Iraq, the last 7 years of my life, I did not see my own family. I was fighting wars, and we were always taught to, cleansing the blood, and we've got to eradicate the infidels and all this sort of thing. And he said, he was asked one time, he said that Muhammad said, what will you die for me? He said, will you die for me? And he said, Mr. John, Jesus is the only person who came that said, I will die for you, that you might live with me. Wow! I will die for you. This is the creator again of everything that exists that said to Sabah and says to you and I died for you because I want you to live with me in paradise forever. That's my message today. It's a motivation to be a good neighbor, to love God because he loved us first, and to love our neighbors as ourselves. We want to continue to show you how to do that, but I wanted to share that story for you because you just never know. A miracle happened that day, and it began with just being convicted to love my neighbor. Somebody that I may not have even liked in the beginning, but I grew to love him, and now he's my brother, and he will be my brother forever in heaven. Isn't that great? I love you today. God bless you. Have a great day. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love God, love your neighbor. I'll see you later. Have a good day. Bye.